Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Chris Maloney back with you for another edition of the Throwdown, the Chris Maloney, episode number 13. Today is Friday, May the 3rd, 2024. It's been a busy week, and still in London, Ontario, Canada. There is a lot going on right now as far as the wrestling world goes, as far as hockey goes as well. It's been a busy day, but personally as well as, I guess, professionally, so to speak. My phone's been blowing up all day with lots of news. I had a show formatted for Wednesday this past week, so 2 days ago, and all show format, everything else. Interview goes along with Shawn, and I appreciate that. And it was a great interview, lots to talk about. And then, sure enough, I was like, you know what? I'll do another edition of the Throwdown. And then, I was like Thursday, Friday, and I was like, oh, Friday seems like a good day. Expecting my show format from 2 days ago to be fine. Forget about it. I eliminated probably half the stuff, had to add a whole bunch of more new stuff, so to speak. But it's been an interesting week, interesting couple of days going into Backlash France, taking place live tomorrow, 1:00 p.m. Of course, CWM predicts. I don't think I'll be live. I don't know if I want to do a show at 9:00 in the morning. We'll see. I may do a pre-record. We'll have to wait and see. But anyways, it depends on how much sleep I get tonight because I got a busy day again tomorrow. So thank you very much, guys, for listening and watching. If you're watching live, thank you very much. If you're listening, of course, like, subscribe, all that sort of jazz, as I always say. The welcome right now, anyways, is going to include hockey because it is a busy time. NHL playoffs, I was talking about the 2 nights ago. Panthers defeat the Lightning 4-1. Bruins are tied right now with the Leafs 3-3. My God. And I feel bad for the Leafs. I'm an Ottawa Senators diehard fan, but I was watching the game last night. They went up 1-0. They went up 2-0. I thought it was going to be a shutout. All of a sudden, there was a kind of commotion. And the next thing you know, 0.1 seconds, Bruins scored 2-1, but they still get the win. Game 7 going back to Boston tomorrow night on a Saturday, 8:00 p.m. Game 7, Leafs and Bruins. Winners take all. Rangers defeat the Capitals 4-0, and Hurricanes defeat the Islanders 4-1. So it's the Panthers taking on the Bruins or the Leafs next round. Either way, if it's Panthers and Leafs, that is going to be a toughie. Panthers-Bruins going to be a tough one as well, and then Rangers-Capitals. Western Conference, Stars lead the Golden Knights 3-2. Avalanche defeated the Jets 4-1. Canucks lead the Predators 3-2. Oilers capitalized, and they defeated the Kings 4-1. Avalanche versus, and then the Canucks or their Predators taking on the Oilers in round 2 as well. That is going to be one to look forward to. Canucks and Oilers, I mean, it's pride, and I know I'm wearing a Boston Red Sox hat, but I take pride in being a feud right there. Speaking of feuds, 2024 OHL Playoffs, Western Conference Championship Series. The Knights have the ability to wrap it up here at home right now at the Budweiser Gardens. So game time, 7:00 p.m. Live tonight, Budweiser Gardens lead 3-1 against the Saginaw Spirit. They took the game, I think it was like 7-2 or 7-3 or something like that the other night. But anyways, if they win tonight, they go on to the OHL Championship, if I'm right about that, because they're Western Conference Championship Series right now. So, busy time in hockey, as well as I'm going to start off the same way I always do, anniversaries and birthdays. So the one and only Stu Hart today, the late Stu Hart was born on this date in 1915. I forget when he passed away. I think it was 2003, if my memory serves correctly. But yeah, it was his birthday today back in 1915. Carlos Newton anniversary wins the UFC Welterweight Championship. That took place today. That took place UFC 31, locked and loaded, Atlantic City, New Jersey on this date in 2001. Birthday on the 7th coming up. The one and only Kevin Owens. He was born on this date in 1984. Birthday on the 7th as well. And May is always a tough month because it's the one and only Owen Hart. The 7th, the late King of Hearts, Owen Hart, was born on this date in 1965. Mike Shaw, the 9th, he was born. The late Mike Muckin Singh Shaw, or otherwise people know him as Bastion Booger, or he was was he Norman the Lunatic? Yeah, Norman the Lunatic, I think, WCW, NWA. born on this date in 1957. And then anniversary, Frank Tunney on the 10th. Frank Tunney passed away on this date in 1983. And guys, I just want to make reference of this. If you see the Throwdown logo, I will give points, okay? Points to anybody who can figure out who the 4 wrestlers are in the Throwdown logo. I've given a hint right there. 4 wrestlers. I'll give you an era. So it's the 90s. I was there live. That is one of my personal shots. I will give you, let me see. I will give you not just bragging rights. I will come up with something next show. What I will give you, a t-shirt, whatever the case may be. But guys, if you can go figure out who the 4 wrestlers on, Shawn is not included, by the way, but if you can figure out who the 4 wrestlers are with regards to that logo, I'll even put it down to this mid-90s for a t-shirt. A t-shirt, yes, that is what's going to be on the line. Any of the t-shirts on Pro Wrestling Tees right now, there is 8 of them in total. You can pick one. I will pay for it, send it your way. No matter where you are in North America, I will send it your way. And all you got to do, email me, chris@cwnonline.ca, chris@cwnonline.ca, and just put a logo or opening logo, so to speak. That'll be your subject, so I know what it is. But guys, that being said, those are the anniversaries and birthdays. I always do tidbits and topics. Tonight I have a guest host with me. It's been a while since I had a guest host. I know I've had guests on, but it's been a while since I had a guest host. But guys, I want to welcome back to the stage the one and only Mr. Shawn Bates, Hammerlock Pure Wrestling ring announcer, management member. I had him on 2 days ago. We went past time, so when we were talking, and he was like, Friar Ferguson, Shawn says, with regards to the many names of the only Mike Shaw, Muck and Sing. But yeah, Shawn messaged me. He goes, I'm willing to do the show with you. I said, what works better, Thursday, Friday? And he was like, Friday. I said, what time? 7 o'clock. I said, that works for me. So I wanted to do the show anyway. So Shawn, thanks again. Welcome back.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And my dog is about to go off. Just a second.
So perfect timing. So Shawn, I actually mentioned as well. He's kind of. I'm not. I guess saying anything that's not accurate, but it's kind of got the itch to start doing podcasting again. I started getting back to kind of that field that we were in a couple years ago, so to speak. But Shawn's big thing was, and I agree with this as well, is how to keep things fresh. And with that being said, I know whatever he comes back with, when he was talking about the production line the other night, he'll come back with something fresh, which is very cool. I try to keep the Throwdown fresh. I mean, it's the same old ugly face of mine, but it's still, I try to keep it as fresh as I possibly can. John says, what's up? John, we'll see you tomorrow. You got any comments or questions or anything like that, John? Feel free to send them in. What did I do? Oh, there we go. Still getting used to this double camera thing. But Shawn, if you ever watch the show, I always do tidbits as well as topics. Tidbits are little things I just want to mention. Topics is more things I'll go into. Some of the stuff here with regards to the tidbits can be topics, but I'll go through them. I'll get your thoughts on some of them as well. If you feel like chiming in, just let me know. Just interrupt me. I talk quick.
No,
you know that.
problem.
But anyways,
as long as my dog's not going off, I'll be able to give some comments.
All right. So tidbits. Kyle O'Reilly is a riot that took place last week. Hey, AEW with the one and only RJ City. That was on the 28th. Courtesy of YouTube. Tickets for SummerSlam in Cleveland on sale next Thursday, May the 9th. So that was released on the 29th of April. Shawn, I want to get your thoughts on this because I've never gone stateside as far as a wrestling pay-per-view, PLE, goes. When you've gone to WrestleMania, when you've gone to Royal Rumble, what's the atmosphere like as a Canadian?
Yeah, it's they don't really, unless you deck yourself out in Canadian gear, you're still just a fan with everybody. And you've seen how WDPLEs have great attendance and the energy that are in them, regardless of what country you're in. The last one in the States I went to was Royal Rumble 2014 in Pittsburgh. And yeah, I wouldn't mind going back to another one.
Was 14 the one that Roman Reigns got lynched? Is that the one he won and then Roman Reigns, or sorry, The Rock had come out?
No, that was Batista, and Rey Mysterio was number 30 and got booed out of the building. Batista ended up winning the whole thing, and Roman could have been the golden child of that one once Daniel Bryan got eliminated, or actually didn't even come out.
Oh, wait a second. Was that the year of WrestleMania 30?
Yeah, they were backing
Okay.
Roman Reigns in that when he was the last one possible that they wanted to see win. And like I said, number 30 came out. Was right. I have to apologize. My dog's going up, but it was Ray and Batista won.
Yeah, so the dog apparently didn't like Roman Reigns back in 2014 either, or Rey Mysterio for that matter. Next, Tiffany Stratton on Tiffy Time, Rhea Ripley, Ludwig Kaiser, as well as Prettiest Moonsault Ever. That was courtesy of Chris Van Vliet on YouTube on the 30th. Swerve City Podcast, episode number 34, Adam Copeland on YouTube. That was on the 30th as well. Shawn, I'll get your thoughts on this quickly. Jimmy Smith rips into Ronda Rousey. What are your thoughts on the whole Ronda Rousey circus taking place right now? The announcement that she's going to have a series on Netflix, as well as whose side are you taking? You taking the media's or you taking Ronda Rousey's?
I have to be honest, I don't know what all you're talking about with the controversy that's going on right now. I know Ronda's come out a lot lately and been very outspoken about her time in WWE. I think she is bitter, I think, about how her career did go in WWE, and also thought she probably should have been on top the whole time. And it's not a reality. You know, she had to learn as well. So I don't know. She's gone. She didn't impress me overly much when she was there. So it's not a great loss one way or another.
Okay, I'll go more into detail during topics because there is one topic that came out about today. I'll go a little more into detail with regards. Vice TV reveals premiere date for The Rock's Who Killed WCW docu-series. It's a 4-part series. It's going to debut in June. Main roster names set to begin in NXT imminently. Shawn, do you know who that is?
Is it Ilya Dragunov?
Nope, going the other way. So going from the main roster of the WWE down to NXT.
Didn't I see Mia Yim is looking to go to NXT, get the women's Intercontinental or North American Championship?
Yes, but this is one that's been not announced. I don't know if you've seen this, but Mike Rome, ring announcer.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So apparently there's rumor that he is going down to NXT and quite possibly Alicia Taylor either being axed or basically coming up to the main roster. And with Samantha Irvin being a huge part of Raw right now, she'd end up going to SmackDown. So it'd be the first time I think in history you'd see 2 female announcers, ring announcers on both shows, which I think is kind of interesting and phenomenal at the same time.
Yeah, and Samantha's just killing it, but I don't know if she'll end up moving to SmackDown unless Ricochet's going to SmackDown as well. I thought he was staying on Raw.
Yeah, from what I understand, he's staying on Raw, so I can't see. So it'd be Alicia Taylor coming up to SmackDown, and then Mike Rome going down to NXT if that is the shakeup. But we'll have to wait and see. Cody Rhodes wants to become the most profitable talent WWE has ever had. Good luck with that, but he's doing well. That came out in the first. Powerhouse Hobbs injury update. He is looking to be out a good 6 to 9 months. Shawn, did you see that match with Moxley? And are you surprised that he's going to be out for that long?
At this point, anybody being announced as injured in the AEW roster is not a surprise anymore. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like they're either taking care of each other or they're just trying so hard to do what is possibly unnecessary to entertain, and they're getting all injured.
So yeah, we go from that to AEW commentator Taz has been told he needs both knees, shoulders. I hate laughing about that, but Shawn talking about the AEW roster being injured. So Taz has his knees and shoulders needing to be replaced, but he's putting that off for now. Inside the Mind of Don Callis interview 2024 that came out on the 1st with regards to the Battleground podcast on YouTube, but that's courtesy of iHeartRadio. Braun Strowman on Bray Wyatt WB return, neck injury, Brock Lesnar receipt. That comes on the second courtesy of Chris Van Vliet. Do you know what this Brock Lesnar receipt's about? Because I'm not sure.
Was Brock responsible for Braun being out for the length of time that he was? It could be that is where that injury came from that put Braun on the shelf. And, well, as we know, Brock is still around in the company.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything more other than he's on the sidelines right now. I'll go into 4 more little tidbits and then we'll get the topics here. So AEW wrestler Julia Hart undergoes shoulder surgery. Another injury there. I feel bad for her. She's young. She's transitioned well in the House of Black. I'll tell you that much. From there, we go into Jeff Cobb captures TV gold in Fukuoka. That took place this morning as part of Dontakaku. I want to say I pronounced that right. But there's a little story with regards to Jeff Cobb for people who don't know. So Shawn and I went to a Smash Wrestling event in Toronto a whole bunch of summers ago. And it was, we had time to kill when we got there. And it's where we're at. I think we had like a no frills as friggin' an option, but not a lot of restaurants. We finally find this little pizza place. And we end up at this pizza place, and we're just sitting there shooting the crap, so to speak, and just being wrestling fans. And sure enough, within an arm's reach, and not even noticing who was sitting beside us.
It was Jeff Cobb himself.
Yeah, so it didn't even notice. I mean, I think he had a hoodie up, eating the same pizza we were, but destroyed it that night, and now is obviously destroyed it in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Captured the TV gold from the one and only Zack Sabre Jr. this morning. And on top of that, Ricochet becomes the first ever WWE Speed champion. Shawn, what are your thoughts on WWE Speed on X?
I have not seen it yet. It's, I guess, obviously a little predictable when you know that the matches are going to be quick. Of course, you don't know who's going to win, but I think I saw also now they're going to do another couple matches to be a number one contender for Ricochet's title and keep Speed going on X.
Yeah, so Speed is it's predetermined, obviously, but it's undetermined how long it's going to be on there. I think it's a year deal at least. Triple H has talked about having a female Speed championship as well. Ricochet defeated Johnny Gargano to capture the title this morning. Didn't know about that news as far as the tournament to crown number one contender, so to speak. It's an interesting concept, but it is kind of predictable. But it's for people who like quick 3-minute matches. I mean, it's all for them. And then finally, as far as tidbits go, and I didn't know this, but apparently Jerry Seinfeld was out in the media lately. He goes, and the article come out, WWE Saturday Night's Main Event helped fund early run of Seinfeld. Did you know about this at all?
No, not at all, but it would not surprise me considering how close WWE worked with NBC, and Brandon Tartikoff would not have been surprised to be friends with Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah, so small story short, they took money from Saturday Night's Main Event to help bring up NBC anyways for Seinfeld for the first 4 episodes. Didn't play out. Then they started taking money, I guess, from the Bob Hope, the Christmas special that they used to do. And obviously Seinfeld eventually took off. But so Jerry Seinfeld recently commented with regards to that. All right, topics. I want to get your thoughts on this. Update on potential host city for WWE WrestleMania 41. Followed up by Triple H says WrestleMania 41 location announcement will happen very, very, very soon. The rumors are this: Minneapolis, even people say in the UK, but the front burner looks to, so to speak, to be Las Vegas, as was Alliance Stadium, and then having the Sphere host Monday Night Raw as well as SmackDown. What are your thoughts on them going potentially to Vegas and it happening in May at that?
Yeah, I saw that it would possibly be at the beginning of May because Nick Khan doesn't want it competing at the same time as the NCAA Final Four tournament, March Madness, which has happened forever, 40 years of WrestleMania, and it's been at the same time of the year, and to move to May will be odd. Vegas, not a surprise because they seem to be able to get everything now, and it's definitely a entertainment magnet. Minneapolis, if it's going to be May, could be a possibility, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be Vegas. And a little bit of a spoiler because we are 7 o'clock here in London. The SmackDown taping happened and it showed. I won't say what all the results are, but it was announced that I guess tomorrow during the PLE, the WrestleMania 41 announcement will be made.
So those listening on audio or video, we're London, Ontario. By the way, not London, UK, not London, England, but London, Ontario. So yeah, that is news to me because I haven't been able to catch up too much since I got home with regard to that. So that is cool to hear. The PLE tomorrow, they're going to announce the location of WrestleMania. More WWE, more AEW injury related stuff. Darby Allin recovering after being hit by a bus. Details how he got struck in the face by struck in the face by the bus. Apparently, he was putting himself in front of one of his friends who was like in his 60s, not the best of health. Shawn, I'm going to ask you this as a long-term wrestling fan. Is Darby Allin going to make it to 35?
If he does, it will be a miracle. The guy seems to have a unfortunate death wish. Even wanting to climb Mount Everest, I don't even think JBL got all the way to the top of that one. And that is because he was doing a bunch of summits of the 7 biggest mountains. But yeah, Darby Allin is just unfortunately, crazy, and something bad could happen eventually. I just don't see his. If he makes it for life, I'm happy. His career, if it makes it to 35, that'll be a miracle in itself.
Now, this is two guys right here on air who grew up in the Attitude Era, and it's Jeff Hardy, all that sort of stuff, Edge, the TLC matches and this and that. The stuff I'm seeing from Darby, especially that last match with Sting and flying through the air, doing a swanton through glass down below, and he basically was fine. And the next thing you know, he basically his foot and then now his face, and it's like it's even as a wrestling fan for as long as I have been, it's still. It kind of gives me the creeps, so to speak. It's I don't think it's needed. If you want to do that stuff, do it in GCW, but don't do it AEW. You're could become a face name. You're already worldwide, but fact is, when it comes down to it, I don't know if there's any room for it nowadays. Best of the Super Juniors is coming up, guys, and I am a huge fan of New Japan Pro Wrestling, and anybody who knows me knows that. 2 blocks have been announced. I'll quickly go through that. El Desperado, Kevin Knight, Bushi Titan, TJP, Kosei Fujita, Blake Christian, Nobu Kanemaru, as well as Hayata are in the A block. And then the B block, we've got Kushida, Hiromu Takahashi, Dookie, Francisco Akira. We got to see Akira actually last year here in London take on Von Vertigo. I'll get more into Von Vertigo later on the show. Robbie Eagles, Taiji Ishimori, Drilla Maloney. I love that name, Drilla Maloney. Show, Dragon Dia, as well as Ninja Mac. And I will get more into that, not today, but later on. When I'm doing the Throwdown, but a huge fan of New Japan and all the tournaments as well. Shawn, what were your thoughts last year of seeing Francisco Akira? Because we've seen TJP here in the city, but Akira versus Von Vertigo. Do you remember that?
Yeah, vaguely, but definitely a good match they put on. Von Vertigo, you can never go wrong with his action. Eventually, I would love to be able to get him into a Hammerlock ring. It's just figuring out how to do it and not stunt his action while maintaining our Hammerlock rules.
Yeah, so he's a high flyer, to read between the lines, as Shawn was saying right there. Not a high flyer. Former NWA Women's Champion Kamille reportedly signs contract at AEW. That was on the 29th. Shawn, your thoughts on Kamille, and if that's the case, why would they have held off? Because apparently they have held off since February of putting her in. You would have thought, if I was Tony Khan, to transition to put her in against somebody like a Jade Cargill who's made that impression in WWE, why not put Kamille back in AEW where she's already had matches there or has made her presence felt with regards to Layla Hirsch? Do you think we're going to see her in AEW, and do you think it was a good idea, a bad idea to leave her sitting for about 3 months?
It won't surprise me if she's in AEW. Unfortunately, Mercedes Moné, she was the priority probably, and that's why she was sitting on the shelf for as long as she has. Now that Mercedes is debuted and is about to have her first match at Double or Nothing on the 26th, now we can start looking at others. But really, you look at the whole women's division over in AEW, and it's like, look at our shiny new toy, and then it's dropped. Mercedes, unfortunately, is going to be that way. Saraya was supposed to be the savior of the women's division. She'll end up being that way. Everybody has their moment, and then they become mid-card normal.
So next 2 topics, I was going to go into depth, but not tonight. Quick thoughts on WWE draft.
Not much movement. A lot of people, especially on SmackDown night 1, stayed where they were, but they did do some more shuffling on Raw. There could be some interesting new matchups for sure. And they even separated Giovanni Vici from the rest of Imperium. So he's not going to get a chance to have that interaction with Ludwig until maybe something like the Royal Rumble or anything like that, because they're going to be on different brands as long as they stick to it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think Vinci's going to get lost in the shuffle, unfortunately. He's a talented guy. I love the gimmick there with Imperium, but I mean, it's Kaiser just got so much more of a role with regards to Gunther. I was going to go into topic with this with regards to Tony Khan controversial anti-WB comments, got tons of coverage for AEW. This was on Wednesday. Now it's Friday, and I've watched Dynamite as well as a little bit of Rampage, so I'm going to forget about that right there. I'll go more in depth as far as Dynamite goes this past week. Drew McIntyre says he was never going away from WWE. Shawn, your thoughts on Drew McIntyre, his character change as of right now, as well as the legacy he's built, and do we see him? Apparently, it's supposed to be a 3-year deal. Do we see him become a champion once again?
I can see him becoming a champion again. They need somebody potentially after Cody does that, or even Damian Priest over on the Raw side. So I see that being a potential. As far as his character goes, it's needed. You need to freshen up at times. And sometimes with people coming in, you can't be number one on the face side of things, and you get pushed down because of different faces coming in. So you switch over and you can be the number one heel to go against those guys, and you have a better position. You know, look at what happened with Hogan and Savage. Savage became the number one guy. Hogan returned from movie making. They switched them so that they were still 1-1.
Yeah. Did you see Raw this past Monday?
Yeah, I saw most of it.
I'm loving right now the storyline between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. It's when they mentioned CM Punk in commentary for WrestleMania and then followed it up by what they did, and all of a sudden this past Monday, CM Punk playing the kind of the rabbit and the carrot, so to speak, and just the look on Drew McIntyre's face, and then just the little things like the end of the promo. If people haven't seen Raw, go back and see Monday Night Raw, at least that clip. CM Punk cuts a promo in the middle of the ring. Drew McIntyre is up in the skybox. There's no microphone. CM Punk sits in the middle of the ring, says what he needs to say, 2.5 minutes, and then the little things. He basically, McIntyre, no kind of mic, just staring a hole through CM Punk. CM Punk turns his back on McIntyre and just ignores him. And it's kind of like, it's that stuff right there that you can tell is just getting under the skin of McIntyre. Shawn, quick thoughts. CM Punk, good thing to bring him back to WWE, because to me, I feel he's working out at this point.
Yeah, it was a good decision. His complaints over in AEW possibly warranted, just like his complaints in WWE 10 years ago. And, you know, if the talent's not happy, you got to go where you're happy. Things have changed in WWE, and the inmates aren't running the asylum, so to speak, as it is over in AEW. And so right now he seems to be having fun. Unfortunately, he got injured, and they found a way to keep him relevant without having to have him be physical while he rehabs. And plus, it kept him from being just put on the shelf and waiting to come back.
Yeah, I mean, it's the key word right there is relevant, right? To make sure he's still relevant, especially with all the hoopla and the injuries that he's had. We go from that to AEW Dynamite Rampage this past Wednesday. Aiming to get off the air in time for that. Obviously, with editing everything else, I had to go play catch up on the PVR, but I stuck through it. I went through it. I was like, man, there's especially Kenny Omega. I wasn't sure how they're going to bring him back. Did you see the whole episode?
Yeah, I saw the whole episode and the ending. Obviously, Kenny is.
Hold on a second. Hold on. I want to get your thoughts on certain things first. Okay. Adam Copeland, Buddy Matthews. The match itself, Copeland doing a suicida plancha to the outside, as well as that blood spot. What did you think of that?
I think they're just trying to hard to keep people attracted to their show. So yeah, the match ran long, and I don't know. I kind of tuned out of it.
All right, enough said. And I will state this: when I started watching that match, the crowd was dead. and they went through, I think, 2 or 3 commercial breaks. So it was a long match, over 20 minutes, I believe, on a 2-hour show. Commercial breaks, I mean, you got 48 minutes per hour, so to speak. So yeah, it was 21 minutes. That's half of the first hour right there. Thoughts on Orange Cassidy and Don Callis? Do you think they're going to go that route, or do you think it's a swerve?
If they go that route, it's definitely a change for Orange Cassidy, but it doesn't make sense if he's going to be still babyface going against Trent, who clearly is supposed to be a heel for turning on them. So heel versus heel would not work.
You know what this is reminding me of with regards to Don Callis? Remember back in the WCW days, the early 90s, the Dangerous Alliance? That was what I feel Don Callis is trying to build right now. A little bit different, but I think it's going to end up being Trent going with the Don Callis family and not going to be OC. I think it's just another thing that basically they've got in their minds to basically kill off OC as much as he can, that he comes back like a superhero. Speaking of superheroes, super match, the one and only Chris Jericho and Katsuyori Shibata. Did you see the whole entire match?
I saw enough that I was just shaking my head. The garbage can on Shibata. They sit down and use the kendo sticks on each other.
So 2 biggest things being talked about the last couple of days was, number one, Robot Shibata. So he's basically trash can on top of him. Jericho basically throwing everything at him, kendo sticks in hand, starting hitting them with the kendo sticks, echoing, obviously supposed to be throwing off Shibata. Shibata stands up and then starts almost like a red light, green light thing going towards Jericho into the corner. It's amazing he didn't trip on hockey pucks. It's amazing he went streamlined into the corner. Jericho eventually gets backed into the corner, and then sure enough, Shibata, standing right in front of him with his trash can still in his head, starts headbutting Jericho with the trash can on him. And Jericho just kind of, it was a moment. Another moment is basically, and this is what I heard, that same trash can, Jericho locks Shibata in the figure 4 leg lock. Shibata locks Jericho in the figure 4 leg lock. That trash can was supposed to be used to hit Shibata over the head to break up the hold. Trash can was on the outside of the ring at this point. Real hockey pucks. This is Winnipeg Arena, by the way. So Canada Life Center, scattered around. Jericho couldn't think of anything else. He wasn't good. There's no weapons. Wasn't going to use his fist to try to knock Shibata out of the figure 4 leg lock. So he takes a hockey puck. And I was like, man, he's not going to throw it at him. Sure enough, he throws it at him, bridges off of his nose, his top lip. And the next thing we know, we see Shibata open. I give the match personally a good 8 or 9 out of 10 as far as the entertainment factor goes. And they say this is Shibata's first ever kind of FTW no disqualification match. You got to give him credit for that.
Yeah, but nobody sold anything. It was just plunder for the sake of plunder.
Shawn, by the way, for anybody who doesn't know, huge fan of the Randy Macho Man Savage. That is what brought him to the table as far as wrestling goes. There is one guy that used to know how to be able to sell, was Randy Savage. I tell you that much. You go back and watch some of his clips, and he did it all. And then obviously main event, Kenny Omega cuts that promo, 3-piece suit going on, comes out by himself. Justin Roberts does the entrance. He's in the ring. He's got basically everybody teared up because he's talking about he was 24 hours away from dying, all the way to the fact that, he's got to get surgery, could have a bag in his body for the rest of his life. If they asked him, basically the doctors were like, Kenny Omega was like, okay, well, patch me up, put me back into wrestling. And he goes, what happens if I don't get the surgery? He goes, you're like a ticking time bomb right now. He goes, and the doctors apparently said, well, you're eventually going to have that surgery. So that being said, Omega's standing there in the ring. He says he's got the heart, the soul. Doesn't matter if he's 1%. He wants to come back. Shawn, you want to finish the story there?
Well, of course, everybody and their brother came out from the Elite and decided to beat the living tar out of Omega. And so it's either he is able to come back and get his medical cleared, or that beatdown was a possible farewell, because if the doctors are right that he might not be able to wrestle, at least he went out being banged up like he did and giving more heat to the Elite, or he's going to be able to have something to come back to if the surgery goes well and rehab.
Yeah, he took a chair shot to the gut. He took the EVP trigger, and then backstage when he's getting loaded up to the friggin' ambulance, they dumped him off the friggin' the stretcher there. I mean, it wasn't soft. It was for a guy who needs stomach surgery, so to speak. It's going to be interesting. It's the only other thing I had heard is because of what they want to do with Will Ospreay, so to speak, is Ospreay on top. So FTR made the save, obviously, but Ospreay should have been one of those guys as well to put him over because obviously All In coming up in London. There's rumors of Ospreay. That's when he's going to win that championship. Ospreay versus Swerve, I think, would be a huge match the way they build it up. But Ospreay, they're saying, should have been one of those guys to save Omega based on their history as well. You were with me there last year at Forbidden Door. Top 5 matches in your life, Ospreay and Omega, or not?
In my life, maybe 10, but not top 5.
All right, so we disagree. Definitely top.
I'd be hard pressed to find my top 10, mind you. But yeah, it was a great match.
Okay, hold on. Where does that rank up with Savage Steamboat?
Oh, Savage Steamboat obviously is going to be in my top 5.
Jesus.
That's an easy.
This may be a one and done as far as Shawn being co-host here. But we have another comment here from the one and only Wade Allen Is it Buswell or Buswell? I'd say Buswell. I always know him as Wade Allen, but he's the better half of the Drifters, by the way. Plunder is always fun, LOL, like Dusty Rhodes used to say. So, yes, 100% agree with that one.
Him with the plunder. Him with the plunder.
Yeah, see, I don't do voices. Last time I did a voice, I got kicked out of a karaoke bar, so I'll leave it at that. But yeah, anyways, AEW Dynamite this past week was good. Shawn, I mentioned these two things to you the other day after we went off the air. Your thoughts on this? I'm excited about this because anybody who knows, I grew up in the Maritimes, followed Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling, Leo Burke, the Cuban Assassin, the Duprees, so to speak, every Saturday, 2:00 p.m. on ATV, which was basically Atlantic television, similar to CTV up here. That was my go-to. That being said, trademark filed for Maple Leaf Wrestling. You guys can check an article on Slam Wrestling, courtesy the one and only Greg Oliver, with regards to a lot of detail about it. Bob Kapur was about part of that article as well. Your thoughts on Maple Leaf Wrestling making a comeback? Apparently, Scott D'Amore, yes, Scott D'Amore owns all of the footage from Maple Leaf Wrestling here in Canada. He also owns all the footage as far as Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling goes here in Canada. He owns some of the footage in Montreal. And when you go into fine detail with regards to the trademark file for Maple Leaf Wrestling, it includes entertainment, it includes in-ring stuff, it includes merchandise, it includes anything that has to do with the internet and kind of podcasts and videos and all this sort of stuff. What are your thoughts on the resurgence of Scott D'Amore and Maple Leaf Wrestling, Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling being part of that?
Well, looks like at this rate, if all the libraries that you're saying are in Scott's possession, you might need to start trademarking the Canadian Wrestling Network, because Scott might be coming up with his own WWE network of Canadian wrestling to be able to. And if Maple Leaf Wrestling is going to be a thing, hopefully it can be what he envisioned TNA Impact to be as a Canadian version, and then grow from there. But if Toronto is going to be the nucleus of it, then interesting things are going to be coming. We'll have to see how it reflects other independent promotions, though, here in Ontario.
Now, do you think you are an independent promoter? Do you think this has play on the independent scene here in Ontario? Or do you think it's more like, say, because he's got BCW, but BCW's last show, I think, was September 2023. So almost 8 months ago at this point. Do you see him doing the indie scene, or do you see him more like kind of the GWN was when he decided to want to bring about the Global Wrestling Network or Global Force Wrestling, so to speak?
Clearly I don't know what the intentions are for it, but if Maple Leaf Wrestling is sort of the idea of a TNA Global Force Wrestling thing, hopefully it can be something where it's working in conjunction and collaboration with independent wrestling that is in the provinces, that we could be feeders to it, or, just, as I say, collaboration instead of a potential domination.
So as of right now, I do like Scott D'Amore. He goes after Canadian Wrestling Network. I will go and want to fight him. I tell you that much. There's a short story. I will share it next time with regards to Canadian Wrestling Network. But yeah, that's my baby now for 15 and a half years. And Shawn is one of the OGs. So yeah, 15, man, almost 15, no, almost 16 years ago, we were chatting about bringing something to life. So yeah, I'll leave that there. Report, Erick Rowan signs new deal with WWE. Your thoughts on, and I saw something today, courtesy of Chris Van Vliet, apparently with regards to the Wyatt 6 apparently coming to life. Now, it was Uncle Howdy. It was Erick Rowan. It was Alexa Bliss. It was Joe Gacy. And then I'm forgetting, there's 2 other guys announced. But what are your thoughts on the Wyatt 6 potentially happening?
The other 2 were Dexter Lumis and Nikki Cross as potentials. If it gets them some jobs and they can actually put it together even without Bray being there and still have that sort of feeling that they were planning to do, anything's possible. It could be a new dominant faction for WWE to worry about. I could see it possibly being on the Raw side of things so that when they go to Netflix, they can have a little bit more fun and leeway to be doing storylines without it affecting network TV.
So we have 19 minutes to get off the air because I want to be able to see SmackDown. Busy day tomorrow as well. So Ethan Page done with AEW ROH, wanted to leave earlier this year. Ethan Page gives a business update today. So the business update was basically Ethan Page saying he's been the number one or one of the top sellers on Ringside Collectibles the past 2 weeks in a row. He brought up a lot that word business, kind of like telling everybody to mind their business with regards to this. It's going to come out. It's just a matter of time whether or not he ends up back in, like, say, TNA wrestling, whatever the case may be. I know he's had a heavy focus on A1. Shawn, your thoughts on Ethan Page and what's going on with him?
Yeah, really great talent. If A1 is continued to be successful here, then that's great for him. I know he recently did a show a couple months ago, revived the brand. I heard WWE was actually interested in him a couple of years ago in 2022. And if he's gone from there, that's a potential. And if he goes back to TNA, you got Josh Alexander there, whether friend or foe. So there's a lot of possibility for Ethan Page.
Yeah, I think if they bring him back to TNA wrestling, I'd say pretend he's like that friend and then turn him heel. I'd love to be able to see that. Last little bit of news: Seth Rollins signs new big money, WB contract. So that came out today. So good for him. Becky Lynch is probably going to stay around as well. I haven't heard anything contract-wise with her, but she is obviously the women's world champion. High-level WB executive Brad Bloom resigns from the company. That came out today as well. He has been there in various parts of the company since 2006. I will probably go more into detail probably next week with regards to that because it's a storyline that's going to continue out to the end of the year. I mean, there's John Laurinaitis talk as well with regards to what's going on with him, and he was going to go after Vince McMahon. Now he's siding with Vince McMahon. It's like one big damn movie, and there's a lot to talk about, so I will leave it at that. But the biggest thing to be able to talk about to end this is this here, and Shawn, you probably are aware of this. WB NXT roster cuts taking place today. You're aware of some of these?
Yeah, there was 10 cuts. 9 of them really were probably some of those college recruits that they end up getting and probably didn't pan out so well. And then, of course, there is the top one on that list was Drew Gulak. And once again, due to what Ronda Rousey had put out there in interviews, he ended up getting a cut.
Yeah, so just running late on time, so maybe I'll go more into Ronda Rousey next week. But Shawn basically summarized it. Yeah, Drew Gulak, Ronda Rousey, that kind of what stemmed from it, and now he's no longer part of the WB. So it'll be interesting to see where he ends up there. SmackDown tonight, so announce Rhodes and Styles face-to-face. Inaugural edition of the RKO show with Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, New Catch Republic taking on AOP, Street Profits taking on A-Town Down Under for the WB Tag Team titles. And then announced today during the kickoff was Bayley, Naomi, Bianca Belair, and Jade Cargill taking on Tiffany Stratton and 3 members of Damage Control. That is out there. I'm not going to release spoilers. If you want spoilers, go out and check it out. But yeah, that is on pre-tape tonight. Still looking forward to watching it because it leads into the PLE tomorrow. But that being said, speaking of PLEs, there is a pay-per-view taking place tonight. TNA Wrestling Under Siege 2024, Albany, New York, 8 o'clock p.m. TNA Plus, Triller TV, YouTube. New Japan Pro Wrestling, Dontaku, Day 2, Fukuoka, Japan, 2 a.m. tomorrow, New Japan World. Big thing with regards to that, John Moxley taking on defending the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship against Ren Narita. Backlash 2024, France, Lyon, France, 1 o'clock p.m. So, guys, it's a busy day for me. I don't know how I'm going to catch it. I try to do the video thing in the car. Maybe I don't know. But, yeah, Lyon, France, 1 o'clock p.m. tomorrow, Peacock WB Network. The pre-show is 12 p.m. on the same things as well, social media. UFC 301 Pantoja taking on Urseg. That's Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, 10 o'clock p.m. tomorrow night. Pay-per-view, UFC Fight Pass, YouTube. New Japan Best of the Super Junior 31, Night 1, 3 a.m. on New Japan World. That's on the 11th. I'll get more into detail about that next show. And then the NWGP, Jesus. New Japan Resurgence 2024, Ontario, California, the 11th as well. 10 o'clock p.m. Triller TV. Canadian MMA BTC 24 on the 8th. Fight League Atlantic 15 on the 8th. The 14th of June, Unified 50 MMA 57. And they're doing a multicast. So they've got Unified MMA 58 also taking place on the 14th. 57 taking place in Toronto. And then you've got 58 taking place with regards to Edmonton, Alberta. Upcoming Canadian independent wrestling events. So CW Live taking place in Winnipeg. That's tonight. RCW Road to Redemption taking place tonight as well. MPW 11th annual Leo Burke Cup taking place tonight as well. That's Edmonton, Alberta. IHW Wrestling A New Hope, obviously Star Wars theme. That's Mirror Machine, New Brunswick taking place tomorrow. Hammerlock Pure Wrestling taking place tomorrow as well at the Job Site Brewing Company, Stratford, Ontario, 7 o'clock p.m. Sold out. So, you'll be seeing little bits and pieces. I said little bits and pieces, probably a lot from me tomorrow. CWM will be in attendance. That is me right here. Yes. We've got IPW Homecoming on tomorrow as well in Brantford. We got the Loot JCW St. Ambrose 2024. That is tomorrow as well in St. Ambrose, Quebec. A lot of shows taking place. And a lot of shows, and Sean's aware of this, CWE. Anytime CWE takes and they're on the market, it's like 15 shows in 15 days. CW Live in Carnduff, Saskatchewan. That's tomorrow. PPW Maximum Effect. That's tomorrow as well. RCW 21st. Maximum Effects Lethbridge, Alberta. RCW 21st Anniversary Tour is Drumheller, Alberta. Junction City Wrestling, Toronto, Ontario. That is on the 5th. CW Live is on the 5th as well in Regina, Saskatchewan. Canadian Apex Wrestling. They've got a show Port Moody, BC on the 5th. CW Live, Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. That's on the 6th. CW Live Saskatchewan, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan on the 7th. We've got the 8th CWE Live North Battleford, Saskatchewan. And then finally CWE Live Edmonton, Alberta on the 9th. There's a lot of shows, but at one point in time when I went looking for shows, it was like, how many of these got to be canceled because of that bad word? So it is nice to be able to see 15 to 20 shows taking place every single weekend. Upcoming Hammerlock dates. And if you've watched on Wednesday, you'll be well aware of these, but I'm going to do this. I'm going to do, if I can find it here. Hey, there we go. So hold on, get rid of these banners as well. Sean, if you want to chime in just as I go, just quickly, though, we're at the 47-minute mark. So on the left-hand side, Job Site Brewing Company, 7 o'clock p.m. bell time. That is tomorrow, May the 4th, Star Wars Day. It also is punishment for a lot of hockey fans because Leafs and Bruins tomorrow. Sean and I talked about this before the show. Sean, what are your quick thoughts on Stratford venue and the Stratford crowd?
We love Stratford so much. They sell out every time that we just tell them that there's tickets. I don't even really need to tell them what the card is, and it'll be sold out. But there are 5 great matches. 3 of them will be title matches. Miley against Vanna Black. Bryce Hansen defending against former champion Rodney Matthews, trying to get his title back. And their first ever tag team championship will be presented where Bricks and Bones takes on the Drifters. Way Down is a part of the Drifters. And one of those teams are going to walk out with the titles and be our champions. On that night, that's presented by the Stratford Fighting Irish. They got the titles for us. And, of course, there's a 6-man tag team match involving KPK, Brian White, Michael Grayson, and Chili Brown. And Isaiah Prince makes his debut against Vikram Prasher. That's sold out, as you mentioned. And then tickets are on sale through frontdoor.plus for May 25th, St. Thomas, Ontario, Elgin County Railway Museum. And there's going to be some great matches on there, including Casey Spinelli going to be challenging whoever comes out as the women's champion tomorrow.
You've got 2 scoops coming in?
2 scoops is coming to St. Thomas.
Although, no, she calls herself something, the baby face, something to do with the baby face now.
Yeah, and also Big K, Little C, Spinelli.
I haven't heard that one. So John goes, it's a roster favorite venue. Is that true?
Yes, they love. Actually, both venues are loved by our roster, but just the atmosphere that the Railway Museum has, the roster was just like, oh my God, I've never been in a place like this before.
All right, so since I got the promoter on, go up next.
Okay, so then next month, June 15th, with the Starford Fighting Irish, we are going to be at the Eastlink Arena in Clinton, Ontario. That is going to be an arena that we're using, so let's fill that place up. It's $25 for your tickets. It's available through Front Door Plus. And then 2 free shows, 1-hour shows, Father's Day in Victoria Park, right here in London, Ontario, at the Children's Festival, and that is presented by Family Shows Canada. So there's plenty of wrestling happening. Then Saturday, July 27th, we return to the German Club in London for another huge show that will be recorded for Rogers TV. And the following day, back-to-back, it's been a while since April 1st of last year, but we're returning to Tillsonburg at the Tillsonburg Community Center. Tickets are $30 through Front Door Plus, but if you use code TBERG5, you're going to save $5, so it'll be $25, and a lot of great on board with that, including the Optimus Club, Rotary Club, Boston Pizza, Loading Screen, Realm Walkers, and Kelsey's. So a lot of wrestling coming your way, and we'll wrap up on August 31st in St. Thomas, back at the Railway Museum for that one as well. But a lot of shows coming your way from Hammerlock.
Yeah, so like I said on Wednesday, if you're a Canadian independent wrestling fan, especially here in Ontario, especially in the London area, you got no reason at all not to go to a show this summer, this spring coming up. But yeah, I will be there live tomorrow. My handsome face and my enjoyable voice, and avoiding Isaiah Cross for all that matter. I tell you that much. But yeah, it'll be a good atmosphere. It's going to be interesting. Game 7 taking place, and Shawn has off the air said he might provide updates to the fans during the in between matches. I don't know how real that's going to be, but it wouldn't surprise me.
We'll try and keep the score up to date during between matches.
So let me go into this before I go to the outro. But free show right at the music hall, courtesy of Smash Wrestling, that came out on the 27th. Shawn, were you actually at the Smash show there?
Yeah, I was at the Smash show. I was sitting up top with Brian White. Because, a lot of our friends from Hammerlock were part of that show, and there were some interesting situations.
2 questions for you. Number 1, how was the reaction towards the Motor City Machine Guns? Because I haven't seen the footage yet.
Really good reaction that they showed up. People were worried that they were going to be at AEW. They ended up having a triple threat tag team match that night instead of a regular tag team match. But yeah, it was a great atmosphere. Sold out crowd there for Smash Wrestling. Not sure how many were there, but between 400 and 500 probably.
And let me get your thoughts on this. Your thoughts on your women's champion taking a cake in the face.
Well, I have to say, it's not that she didn't deserve it.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. It's like we had talked about on Wednesday, how the booking goes, but it's see, I look forward to seeing Miley tomorrow. That Miley. This new Miley, I'm still trying to get used to. So looking forward to seeing that Miley tomorrow, not that new Miley. So it's going to be interesting whether or not it's going to be like a Laurel Van Ness. You know who Laurel Van Ness, Chelsea Green is, right? Yeah. When she was doing that kind of the half and half thing. I don't know. That's why I'm not a booker. From there, guys, our buddy, our pals, Stevens, and one and only Steven Spice. He's doing more videos on YouTube again. So he's got one SWJ, Steven's Nip Ups at Alpha One Wrestling that was on the first. So check that out. Support him. You'll see the videos online at cwnonline.ca. Gail Kim on becoming a professional wrestler, working for the WWE, changing the women's division. That is courtesy of Wrestling is Life is Wrestling, courtesy of the one and only Cody Diener. Shawn, what are your thoughts on Cody Diener doing a podcast? He's 42 episodes deep. Have you seen any of them?
I've seen the first few, just trying to juggle everything else as well. But yeah, he's got quite the arrayment of friends and talent that have been on his show, and it definitely helps, I guess, pass time and also get a chance to sit down with his friends and talk instead of just constantly traveling and doing shows and going. So yeah, it's a great opportunity for people to look behind the curtain and see how people in this industry are.
So as Shawn put it this past Wednesday, collaboration over competition. I love my podcast, but check out Cody's podcast as well. He does a good job. It's like a conversation between two buddies, that you're privileged to. So it's absolutely phenomenal. And part one with Gail Kim took place on Thursday. Part two takes place next Thursday. If you want the interviews in advance, pay the $5 to $10. Subscribe to him on Patreon, and you're able to see the whole interview in its entirety on the Sunday, which is 4 days early. So check that out. And as mentioned before, Von Vertigo, once I take the OTT NLW title, I'll make sure to give the Irish a fair shot. So he's going for a title over there in Europe. That's the other thing about Von Vertigo, if you can catch him. So he is so back and forth in between North America as well as Europe, and he loves his Europe dates. But he is somebody I'd love to be able to see with regards to Hammerlock Pure Wrestling. So if you can tame down his style, it'd be interesting. But it's I don't know. It's he's one on the. We talk about the top fives, top tens. He'd be one of those top fives I'd love to see in Hammerlock Pure Wrestling.
Yeah, there is ways around some of our rules, and anything is possible. We have had brief talks.
So, guys, I will be back. I don't know if it's going to be a pre-record or 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to say 99.9% is going to be a damn pre-record because I love doing this, but it's sometimes it takes me time to wake up, the green tea, the Cheerios. I love my Cheerios, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, you will see CWM predicts WB Backlash 2024 France. Tomorrow it's going to air at 9 o'clock in the morning regardless, but it's probably going to be a premiere and not a live edition. So, but definitely enjoy that tomorrow. The Throwdown, Chris Maloney, episode number 14. That'll be to be determined. May tends to be a busier month. I've got a daughter who's about to start T-ball season once again. Swimming lessons coming up as well. So it's the kind of figuring out when's when, and the weather outside is absolutely beautiful. If I can figure out a way how to do this podcast outside, maybe. But there's a lot of Canadian geese in this city right now, and if I had more time to plan, I was at I was out in Hyde Park, where Hyde Park is, obviously, Shawn. But I was out there today, and sure enough, I'm at Marshall's. I come out of Marshall's, and there's a damn goose sitting on top, so not sitting, but standing on top of an SUV, and that is the way they have owned this city as of late. Star Wars Day is officially tomorrow, so if you're attending Hammerlock Pure Wrestling, remember that. If you're a talent going to the show, I dare you to dress up as Darth Vader or Luke Skywalker or Jar Jar Binks, even, whatever the case may be. Now, maybe not Jar Jar, but you've got a lot of characters to choose from. Sunday, happy Cinco de Mayo to everybody. I know I will be looking for my Corona. So yeah, it's Cinco de Mayo on Sunday. Shawn, last minute. Oh, hold on. I got one more comment. Last comment was a spam. Let's see what this one is. Oh, nope. John says, see you tomorrow. So yeah. John, looking forward to seeing you. Oh, John, I want to know this before we get off the air. I'm going to let Shawn do some plugs. Is Harvey coming tomorrow? And Shawn, and the reason I say that, so Harvey is John's stepfather, if I stand correct. And Harvey is one of the I've known Harvey for years and years and years, one of the biggest Leaf fans in the world. And John told me that Harvey is coming out to the show with his wife. And that was before the Leafs are challenging the Bruins for Game 7. So I'm one of the big curiosities from today, and I was telling my wife this. I was like, I wonder if Harvey's actually going to go. So if John, if you're still listening, I want to know, is Harvey attending tomorrow, or is he on the fence at this point? Shawn, floor is yours. How do people reach out to Hammerlock Pure Wrestling? How much are you looking forward to your day tomorrow? I know it's a long ass day for you, but it's going to be an enjoyable day for the fans up there in Stratford as well as the talent. But how do people get in touch with Hammerlock Pure Wrestling?
Yeah, so definitely on our Facebook page, very interactive that way. Messenger, almost instantaneous replies. We're on Instagram at HammerlockPW. And then, of course, hammerlockpurewrestling.com is our website. And you can email us at contact@hammerlockpurewrestling.com. And yeah, those are our main ones. We are sporadic through the other social medias.
So I wasn't laughing at anything you said. I'm laughing because John posted another comment here. And this is what I said to him on Facebook. I said, I'll bring Harvey a box of tissues when I see him on Saturday. Now I'm not sure about that. But John says, yes, he is. So Harvey is coming tomorrow. And I told him he had a box of tissues for him. He said he'll be listening to the game as well. I can see a lot of people doing that tomorrow night. I tell you this. I'm excited about the results, but I could care less kind of when they come in. I'm just the end of the game. You know what I mean? But I never even thought of that. You might have a lot of people with like earbuds in and stuff like that listening to the game and watching Hammerlock Wrestling all at the same time. But yeah, hey, John, tell Harvey I'll be looking forward to seeing him tomorrow. I'll bring that box of tissues regardless. But yeah, that's going to be looking forward to tomorrow. A big day for Hammerlock Pure Wrestling as well as myself. I'll be doing basically whatever Shawn asked me to do within reason. And, but I'll be enjoying this show. And it's a pure, you know what? I'm going to try to take as much video as I can tomorrow to show you the atmosphere, because there are two venues I enjoy as an independent wrestling fan. One of them is Stratford, and one of them obviously is St. Thomas. And, people have heard me say that before. But guys, I'm going to get off the air here because it's after 8 and SmackDown is officially on the air, and I want to be able to watch that. Shawn, as always, thank you very much for being a part of this. I will see you tomorrow. Tell Isaiah Cross to be nice to me. And John, I've got that Kleenex box coming to Harvey. But for Shawn Bates, this is Chris Maloney from the Throwdown with Chris Maloney, episode number 13. Thank you very much for watching, listening, everybody. And I will see everybody and talk to everybody again sometime soon.
See you later.